Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking a journey deep inside one of the world's most complex and frankly, most vital industrial sites. When you see an oil refinery, what do you really see? Probably just a maze of pipes and towers, right? But it's so much more than that. It's actually a high-stakes molecular factory where physics and economics collide head-on. Okay, let's dive into this. So here's the plan. We're going to follow a single barrel of crude oil on its journey. We'll break the whole process down into 5 key stages, and we'll watch it transform from raw material, right out of the ground, into the products that power our world.
So what's the fundamental purpose of a refinery anyway? What's the end game? It's not just about making fuel. It's about creating value. And it does this using an incredibly disciplined logic.
And this is the crucial point. Every single step is an economic decision. It's constantly being optimized to maximize the gross margin, the profit, squeezed from every single drop of crude oil. We're talking about turning, say, an $80 barrel of raw stuff into over $100 of finished products. So how does that process even begin?
Our barrel's journey starts with the most fundamental process you can imagine: simple separation. Think about it. You have to sort the molecular puzzle pieces before you can start rearranging them. This is where the refinery figures out what it's working with.
You can really think of it like a massive sorting machine for molecules. The crude is heated up, and as it vaporizes and rises up a tall column, it starts to cool. The lighter molecules with low boiling points, they keep rising all the way to the top. The heavier ones, they stay down at the bottom.
Now this one simple step establishes the core challenge for the rest of the refinery. The light fractions that came off the top, naphtha and kerosene, they are full of potential. But the heavy fractions, especially that sludge called resid at the very bottom, well, those are the problem children that need some serious and very expensive upgrading.
So let's focus on one of those valuable light fractions, naphtha. This is where the refinery stops just sorting things and starts to get really clever. It begins reshaping molecules to create 2 absolutely critical components for the entire operation. So the first big product here is octane. You've seen the octane rating at the gas pump, right? Well, reforming is the process that gives gasoline that high-performance, anti-knock quality your car engine needs to run well. But in the process of making that octane, it produces something else that's just as important.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates just how interconnected a refinery is. Hydrogen isn't a final product you buy at the store. No, it's the refinery's vital, hidden currency. It gets consumed in almost every other upgrading process, whether it's cleaning out sulfur or cracking heavy molecules. In fact, a refinery's ability to make hydrogen often limits its ability to process cheaper, lower-quality crude. Okay, so you can see how this all builds, right? We've sorted the crude, we've upgraded the light parts. Now it's time to tackle the heavier fractions from distillation, like gas oil. And let me tell you, this part is the absolute heart of a refinery's profitability. This is where the real alchemy happens, turning the less desirable parts of the barrel into the most sought-after transportation fuels. This is the core act of value creation, and refineries basically have 2 different ways to get this done. This comparison is so key. You've got the FCC, or fluid catalytic cracker. It's the workhorse for making gasoline. It works by rejecting extra carbon from the heavy molecules as a solid called coke. On the other hand, you have the hydrocracker. It's a hydrogen addition machine. It uses that valuable hydrogen currency we just talked about to produce premium, clean diesel and jet fuel. A refinery's choice between these 2 really defines its entire economic personality.
Okay, we've processed the light and the medium parts of our barrel. But what about the absolute heaviest, stickiest, most difficult gunk that's left at the very bottom? The stuff that's left over even after a second, more intense distillation.
This is the final challenge. This stuff, called vacuum resid, is almost worthless on its own. It's the material that resists simple distillation and catalytic cracking. So the most advanced refineries, well, they have a brute force solution to squeeze the last drops of value out of it. Enter the cokers. These are the heavy hitters. They don't use delicate catalysts, they just use intense heat and pressure. And these units are what allow a refinery to process the cheapest, heaviest crudes in the world, because they give them a way to handle the absolute worst part of the barrel. The process is simple in concept, but it's incredibly harsh in practice. The resid is heated intensely inside these massive drums until the molecules just violently crack apart.
This gives you more valuable liquids that can be processed further, and it rejects all the excess problematic carbon as a solid.
So as we've seen on this journey, from that initial sort in the distillation tower all the way to the final brute force cracking in the coker, every single step is a calculated decision. It's all designed to transform geology into economics.
The technology inside these molecular factories is constantly adapting. The big takeaway here is that this incredibly complex system, built over a century to create value from every part of the barrel, is just going to continue to shift and evolve. It has to, in response to new fuels, new regulations, and new economic pressures.